Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. If you've got a young family and you're just tired of the financial chaos, stressed about living paycheck to paycheck, or literally just wondering where on earth all your hard-earned cash vanished to by the end of the month, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to build your family financial GPS. Think of this as your ultimate step-by-step roadmap to finally taking control of your household's future, crushing that debt, and building a safety net so you can actually sleep soundly at night.
Okay, let's dive into this because we really need to reframe how most of us think about our money. Just look at this quote. A budget doesn't limit your freedom, it gives you control over your money. I love that. So many busy families completely avoid budgeting because they think it's way too complicated or honestly just a giant buzzkill. They think a budget means absolutely no more fun. But the truth? A solid budget isn't some restrictive punishment. It is actually a super empowering tool that unlocks real financial freedom for you and your kids.
So, to get us to that freedom, think of our agenda today as your family's GPS route. We'll start by building the family financial GPS, then we'll track those daily leaks, figure out needs versus family wants, dive into paying yourself first, and finally, tackle debt and emergencies. All right, let's hit the road.
Starting off with stop number 1, the family financial GPS and setting your destination.
It's the ultimate question, right? Where is our family's money going? I mean, almost every family has shouted this in a moment of sheer frustration. The stress of managing a household is so universal. Between groceries, daycare, the literally astronomical cost of diapers, utility bills, trying to keep the kids entertained, it kind of feels like your money just vanishes into thin air. Without a map, we're all just wandering lost in a maze of expenses. A budget is that map. And honestly, just like building a house, before you can even think about pouring a foundation, you got to understand the exact dimensions of the lot you're building on.
So, understanding your lot means taking step 1, you and your partner actually sitting down together and calculating your total reliable monthly income. We're talking salaries, side hustles, but make sure to average it out if your pay fluctuates. Before getting lost in the weeds of where every single dollar goes, you have to figure out your exact starting point. Then, you set a purposeful destination. Because a budget without goals is kind of meaningless. Are you trying to save for a home, eliminate that credit card debt, build up an emergency fund? Defining these goals together gives your budget a real purpose. And of course, reviewing it monthly makes sure you stay right on track. Which brings us to our second stop, tracking the daily leaks, or as we like to call it, clearing the weeds. If budgeting is like building a house, tracking your expenses is like clearing all the weeds off your lot before you pour the concrete. You absolutely have to know where the money is leaking out. So imagine this young family who decides to take a challenge. For one single month, they write down absolutely every expense, no matter how tiny. They check their banking app daily, keep the receipts, the whole shebang. Well, at the end of the month, they are completely shocked. Those frequent takeout meals on exhausting Tuesday nights, the unused streaming subscriptions they swore they'd watch, the daily coffee runs, they discover these tiny, everyday leaks are secretly draining hundreds of dollars. Money that could have gone straight toward paying off debt or a family vacation fund. Tracking every expense highlights exactly where your hard-earned money is slipping away. All right, now that the weeds are cleared out, we move to stop 3, needs versus family wants and building the foundation. One of the absolute biggest traps families fall into is treating every single expense as a complete necessity. And this brilliantly illustrates why we have to be honest about the difference between essential survival needs and non-essential lifestyle wants. See, needs are the strong, unshakable foundation of your house. Housing, basic groceries to feed the kids, keeping the lights and water on, and health care. Wants, on the other hand, are the decorative elements, multiple streaming services, expensive vacations, takeout, designer clothes. Don't get me wrong, they make life super enjoyable, for sure, but they aren't essential. Truly understanding this difference, that's what empowers you to make much smarter, intentional choices for your family. Once you separate those needs from the wants, you can create spending categories that reflect what actually matters to you. The absolute magic of this step is that it gives every single dollar a job before the month even begins. Notice how prominent savings and debt repayment are right here? By actively setting boundaries on those non-essential wants we just talked about, you're purposefully routing money away from things you don't really need and channeling it directly toward crushing debt and building up your family's savings. Let's move right along to our next vital stop. Pay yourself first, also known as the oxygen mask principle. So the crucial point is, well, it comes down to a giant zero. You know when you're on an airplane and they do the safety briefing, telling you to secure your own oxygen mask before helping anyone else?
The exact same logic applies to your family's finances. You have to secure your own financial safety first. So many people pay all their bills, grab groceries, go out to eat, and then they plan to save whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. But what actually happens? Life happens, and they're left with exactly $0 for savings.
To fix this, you literally have to treat saving like it's any other critically important monthly bill. The very second you get paid, before you buy a single grocery item, before you pay the electric bill, transfer a designated chunk of your income directly into savings, investments, or extra debt payments. By paying yourself first, you're guaranteeing that your family's financial future is actually funded, rather than just crossing your fingers and hoping there's some spare change left over on the 31st. And finally, we reach our last stop on the route, tackling debt and emergencies. If the budget is your foundation, consider this step putting a solid, protective roof over your family's head. Because really, the ultimate goal of your family financial GPS is security. Life is entirely unpredictable, right? You're going to face car repairs. You might get hit with unexpected medical bills for the kids, or suddenly the water heater blows up. These aren't just possibilities, they are eventualities. If you don't have an emergency fund, that broken down car goes straight onto a high-interest credit card, spiraling you further into debt and turning a minor bump in the road into a total financial disaster for your family. The best step you can take today is to start small. Just set a goal for a starter emergency fund of $1,000, and maybe use a debt snowball method to knock out your smallest credit card balance first. Having this cash buffer acts as a shock absorber. It protects that roof over your head and ensures that when life inevitably happens, it's just an annoying inconvenience, not a full-blown emergency. Now look, as you begin this journey, you're absolutely gonna hit some potholes. Setting unrealistic limits? Well, the solution is to make small changes. Feeling like giving up after a setback? The solution is to just stay consistent. I really want to reassure you here, the perfect budget does not exist. Some months, the kids are going to suddenly need new shoes you didn't plan for, or you'll splurge a bit on a family outing. Occasional mistakes are completely normal. It's just part of the journey. Do not let one bad month cause you to throw the GPS out the window entirely. Always remember this golden rule. Consistency matters far more than perfection. If you can just make small, consistent improvements month over month, tracking your spending a little better, putting a few extra bucks toward that debt, adding a little more to the emergency fund, those small steps are what lead to massive wealth building over time. It dramatically reduces your daily stress and lets you actually enjoy today while knowing you're fully prepared for tomorrow. At the end of the day, a budget is not a punishment. It truly is your personal plan for financial freedom. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about your own household habits. What is the biggest challenge you face when trying to stick to a monthly budget? Is it the unexpected expenses, the impulse buys? Take a moment to reflect on that, maybe discuss it with your partner over dinner, and take immediate control of your financial future today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you in the next one.